I can't imagine anyone deciding whether or not to go to university based on a YouTube video, especially one from me. That will not stop me from making one. Over on the Talk channel, the question was this: is it worth going to university? I was this close to posting a response last week, but I dropped out. But I'm here this week. Hi, I'm Nicola. I want to look at it as an ROI question, return on investment. What do you pay in? What will it pay out? I know that's not the whole story. There's a lot more to education than money. There's education, but we'll leave that for future videos. This one's about the money. What is the ROI on higher education? Also called tertiary education by people with enough education to cope with words like tertiary. Well, there's the investment. There's the tuition. That varies tremendously between public and private university. You've got expenses. You've got interest on student loans. There's also something called opportunity cost, because one of the things you'll be investing is your opportunity to earn money by having a job for 3 or 4 years instead of going to college. By the way, I'm going to say college because that's what Americans call undergraduate programs at university. And finally, you're investing the time, effort, attention, stress, and occasional boredom. Hard to put a price on those. Figuring the R, the return, that's murkier, because the R will happen in the future and we can only guess about the future based on the past. Historically, though, a college degree has netted people over $1 million in extra earning compared to high school graduates. So, considered simply as an investment, university has been a great use of money. Here are the historic returns in the U.S. for various investments: gold, stocks, T-bills. And compare putting that same amount of money into a degree, boom, returns are much higher. Or at least they have been. Because the charts I just showed reflect people who have been through the system and have been out for a good while. They don't actually guarantee you'll get the same return if you're entering university now. In fact, there's some worrying trends. A recent survey in Britain finds that the gap in earnings between people who have university degrees versus A-levels narrowed by 22% over the past decade. As far as I can tell, British A-levels are roughly equivalent to a U.S. high school diploma with some advanced placement courses. And trends on the cost side are even more alarming. The costs of university are rising much faster than inflation. The lower line is general inflation. The upper line, college costs. I went to a private university, pretty good one. When I started in 1960, the tuition was $1,460 for the whole year. Adjusting for inflation, my tuition into today's dollars would be $11,500. That's not what my university charges today's students, however. The actual tuition this year is over $45,000, and that's without expenses like fees, room and board, books. Total estimate for a year tops $60,000. Tracking the return on the investment since 1991, you can see how dramatically the ROI for university has fallen. It had a peak over 1,100%. Now it's around 300%. Still, you're way ahead of the game if you go to university, which brings us around to politics. If you asked, is university worth it in England a few years ago when tuition maxed out at £3,000, you might get a different answer. Today, it's £9,000. That increase was an act of Parliament. 2010. Politics. The Scottish Parliament, by contrast, voted there should be no tuition fees. Politics. So the political question comes down to this: does a country or a state have a collective interest in making higher education affordable? The governor of my state, the state of Washington, recently said he wants to reduce tuition at our public universities and colleges. Bottom line, said Governor Jay Inslee, we have intellectual capital. That's what we sell. Our asset is not below the ground, it's on our shoulders. Maybe a country can become more competitive by raising the level of education rather than by holding down the level of wages. It's a different way to ask the question. Not, is university worth it for me, but is it worth it for us? Until next time, I'm Nicola. DVD extras. The U.S. is in the middle of a fight about the rates charged on college student loans now. They'll double at the end of this month unless Congress acts, and there are a variety of proposals for dealing with college loan rates. I'll cover them in a separate video. Today's shirt. No, I'm not going to explain it. I don't think it'd be funny if I told you. You work it out. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's my favorite topography joke. You want more? It has to do with the technical term for the spacing between individual letters. If you need more, ask Karen Cavett.